Okay, hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining this information session about apprenticeships at Hackney Council that we are recruiting for now. This is our first ever online information session, so bear with us if it doesn't all go totally smoothly, but hopefully it will. My name's Alex. I work for Hackney Council. I manage our employment pathways team, covering our work around apprenticeships and work placements and traineeships. Today's session is about 90 minutes long. If you're unable to stay for the whole session, we are going to make a recording of the whole session available to you afterwards. You should, on YouTube, have a link to Slido, which is a place you can ask questions. So a number of you have already asked questions, which is great. And I'm going to try and answer as many of them as possible with the other people on this call. If we don't get to your question in time, we will follow up by answering the questions on Slido and emailing the asked questions and answers around to people as well. If you're on there, you need to use hashtag info1, that can be capitals or lowercase, and you can ask your question there. If somebody's already asked the question you want to ask, please like the question instead of asking it again to tell us that it's a popular question we should try and answer in the next 90 minutes. We probably won't be able to answer questions that are very specific to individual apprenticeships. Today is a much more general information session about the 43 apprenticeships we have and our programme as a whole. But we are organising a series of more in-depth sessions about the individual apprenticeship areas, and you can sign up for them on the Hackney Works website. I will also share with you afterwards a link for how you can do that. Finally, on the Slido, there's a poll that you can complete if you want to anonymously. It's just to give you an idea of which apprenticeships are likely to be the most popular, although this is very unscientific, but it might just give you an idea of which are going to be the most competitive and where we might actually have fewer applicants per post. If you're, say, torn between two areas, that might help you decide. Before I say anything else, I'm going to invite one of our councillors, Councillor Carol Williams, to say a few words.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. My name is Carol Williams. I'm a councillor, as Alex said, and I'm Hackney Council's Cabinet Member for Employment, Skills and Human Resources. I just want to say that when we first launched the apprenticeship programme in March 2017, we were in very, very different times. The coronavirus pandemic means that instead of hosting this from the town hall, we're all now in our homes dialing into this broadcast to receive information about the current recruitment rounds for the next cohort of council apprentices. And I think it's also important to just let you know that recruitment across the council has actually been put on hold. We are only recruiting for the apprentices, except, of course, where we've got urgent need to fill vacancies. So this programme it's incredibly important, and the annual apprenticeship recruitment campaign is always a big event in the council calendar. This year, it's taken on a new meaning and increased significance for everyone setting out on their careers, for anyone considering the next step, for those who may have been furloughed from their previous jobs, or those thinking about a new start and a new career in a new field in public services. Changes that we're seeing in the economy has made it all the more important for the council to continue recruiting apprentices and to create future opportunities within the council. I'm not going to take much more of your time. I do, however, want to close by saying a big thank you to the Employment and Skills team who've put this event on today and who've been a key component in turning the council's fledgling apprenticeship programme into a multi-award-winning scheme in just 3 years. You'll get to meet them today. They'll be on hand to answer all of your questions that you've submitted beforehand and those that you will submit during the broadcast. Thank you so much for letting me be with you, and good luck in your applications.
Thank you very much, Carol. So we do have quite a few managers for you to hear from today. What I'm going to do in the next sort of 10-ish minutes is give you an overview of our programme and try and answer some of the questions that have come through on Slido in the last few days. And then at the end, we will try and get to some more of your Slido questions that have come through during the session, and some of the managers will be around as well to answer questions if you have them specifically for them. So I wanted to start just by talking about what an apprenticeship is. I'm sure most, if not all of you know that, but I always think it's worth reminding people about that. So it is a job. It's worth saying that 80% of your time is work. You are paid. You're paid with us, at least the London living wage. Most of our apprentices earn a starting salary of £22,300 roughly. That's for all of our level 2 and 3 apprenticeships. Level 4, 5, 6 apprenticeships, the salary is a bit higher than that, but it is a job. So you're expected to be in 9 to 5. I will talk a bit later on about working from home in COVID, because a few of you have asked about that. You also do a qualification as part of your apprenticeship. So 20% of your time is studying. That could be at a qualification from level 2 until up to level 7, which is degree level. The job descriptions that we've advertised should tell you the level and the qualification that you would be studying. You would be studying with an external training provider. It doesn't actually usually mean that you're going off to college one day a week. That is sometimes the case, but lots of our apprentices go to college maybe once a month, and then in between that, they have visits from an assessor in the workplace. It really varies apprenticeship to apprenticeship. So I would suggest to join some of the more in-depth sessions if you want to find out a bit more about the specific training in the area you're interested in. All of our apprentices get a package of support from us, from the Employment Pathways team. So those are my colleagues, Ronki, Ryan, Sasha. Some of you might have met them before. We try and bring apprentices together as much as possible to give you shared experience, to learn from each other. We try and do additional learning and development. I saw that Anna on Slido asked how many of our apprentices stay with the council, which is a really good question. So 70% of our apprentices stay with the council after their apprenticeship. You're not guaranteed a job, but we give you a lot of support to try and make sure that you can stay with us. And what I would say is that where apprentices have shown during the 1 or 2 or 3 years of their apprenticeship, however long it lasts, have shown the right attitude and reliability, and that they are to be depended on, then in most cases the managers are really keen to keep them on. And that's partly what we're trying to achieve with our apprenticeship program, is to give you the start in a really good career so that you can continue with the skills and experience you get, either with the council or elsewhere. So about 10% of our apprentices go on and get jobs in the private sector as well. Somebody asked, I think it was anonymously, what happens if you find out during the apprenticeship that it's not for you? That's a really good question. That does happen. We wouldn't automatically move you to another apprenticeship. So we do recruit regularly. So in that situation, you're always welcome to apply and we can support you with that. But you wouldn't have, if you decided this isn't the area for me, you wouldn't just automatically be able to be moved to another area. What I would say is we have so many apprenticeships at the moment. Do take your time to consider, is this the area for me? Join the in-depth sessions, read our apprenticeship blog, read the job description really thoroughly, do some research, get a real feel for the type of job you'll be doing, listen to the managers today in the session, and try and get a good sense of whether it is something you want to pursue as a career or not. Quite a few of the questions that came in were about eligibility for our apprenticeship, so I do want to cover that briefly. Every job description has details of the specific eligibility for each apprenticeship, but there are some things that are the same for all of our apprenticeships. So you do need to have at least some link to the borough of Hackney. You either need to be living in the borough now, or be educated in the borough at the moment, or have previously been educated at a Hackney secondary school, or to be a Hackney care leaver. And we will, at some point in the recruitment process, ask you to evidence that link, either through your proof of address or through documentation from a school or training provider or care leaving service. We don't have any upper age limit for our apprenticeships. Somebody asked, can I still apply if I'm 60? Yes, absolutely you can. For most of our apprenticeships, you need to be 16 by September this year, the 1st of September. For some of them, for kind of service related reasons, you have to be 18 or 21. Someone asked if we prioritize younger applicants. It's a good question. No is the answer, but at the same time, it's important to say we don't prioritize, certainly at level 2 and 3, we're not looking for people with prior education and experience. We're looking for people with the right attitude, with an interest in the area. So it shouldn't be a disadvantage to you if you don't have any work experience or you're not really qualified in the area you want to do an apprenticeship in. That's the whole point of apprenticeships, particularly at that level, is to give you that experience and to give you that qualification. Some people, Ayata, you asked about degrees. You don't need a degree to apply for any of our apprenticeships. You are free to mention that on your application form, but it's not a requirement and it's not something we particularly give extra weighting to, again, particularly at our level 2, 3 and 4 apprenticeships. You do need to be aware, I think, that there can sometimes be a clash with apprenticeships. So rather than going into that in detail here, I'll give you the very top line view, which is that if you already hold a qualification at the same level or higher, in the same subjects area as you want to do an apprenticeship, you won't be eligible for that apprenticeship. And that's not Hackney's rule, that's a national government rule around apprenticeships. So if you held a level 2 business BTEC or business apprenticeship, you couldn't do a level 2 business administration apprenticeship, but you could do a level 3. If you're not sure about your individual circumstances, email apprenticeships@hackney.gov.uk and we'll try and look into it for you. But if you're not sure, I would say apply anyway, and we can cross that bridge when we come to it. The last thing to talk about is our recruitment process, because quite a few of you have asked about this. Bianca asked if you can apply for more than one apprenticeship. Yes is the answer. So you will have seen that our apprenticeships are grouped into, I think, 6 different areas. So you have digital, you have Young Hackney, you have business services. So you can make one application in as many of those areas as you want. You can't make more than one application within those areas. So you can't make 2 applications for digital or 2 applications for construction related. Within the application form, you have the chance to tell us what your top choice is. So if you've applied for digital and construction, tell us in your application form, my top choice is digital. And within digital, for example, there's 21 apprenticeships. So tell us in the application form as well, I'm interested in these 3 apprenticeships, but my top choice is X, Y, or Z, data or cyber security. In the application form also consider that, sorry, not in the application form. When we come to the assessment stage of the process, so after you complete your application form, we are going to do telephone interviews with you. So usually we run assessment days in person. Some of you might have been to them before. This year, because of COVID, we're not going to do that. We're going to do one-to-one phone assessments. And as part of that, we will talk to you if you've made multiple applications about your top choice as well. And it may be that we decide to put you forward for more than one interview in different areas. So the process is application form, phone interview, and then if you're successful there, we'll offer you an interview, which will be not with our team, but with the individual managers. So the managers you're going to hear from today. And that is probably likely to be done remotely online because of the coronavirus situation. I think the last thing I'm going to say before I hand over, because I'm conscious of time, is about the kind of general qualities that we're looking for. So, as I've said, we're not really looking particularly at prior experience. We're not looking at prior qualifications unless that is specifically on the job description as a requirement, which it really only is for apprenticeships at level 4 or higher. We're looking for, are you interested in this area? Have you shown us, both in the application form and when we have a phone assessment with you, that you understand what the role is about, what the apprenticeship is about, that you've done some research, that you've read the job description, that you're going to have the resilience, the grit to see it through. That's a really important thing as well. We want to see that you're determined, because although there is a social element, like I say, we try and bring apprentices together. It is a job. It can be tough. You might be challenged. You probably will be challenged. So we want to recruit people who are going to be up for that challenge. But we will give you a lot of support along the way with that. There's a few things I didn't get to, particularly around applicants with disabilities and around working from home. So I will try and come on to that at the end of the session. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Jennifer and Lorenzo, who are the first managers who are going to talk about their apprenticeships. So they're from our housing team, and they're going to talk about 5 apprenticeships we have in trades.
Hello, I'm Jennifer. I am the manager for the trade apprentices in housing. We've got a team of people that work alongside me, which is dedicated for the trade apprentices, which is, I've got Lorenzo and I've also got Tracy, and they work very closely to support the trade apprentices in our area. We will be recruiting 5 apprentices this year, 1 in each of the following trades: painting and decorating, plumbing, multi-trade, carpentry, and domestic gas engineering. Just to give you a very short summary of what those are. Obviously, painting and decorating pretty much speaks for itself. Decorating people's homes, the painting, wallpapering, etc. Plumbing is, fixing people's taps, baths, installing the appliances, clearing blockages, etc. Multi-trade is one where you, as it speaks, it is learning multiple disciplines. So you'll do a bit of carpentry, a bit of plumbing, paint and decorating, plastering. So if you've got a general interest in a number of areas, multi-trade is probably a good one for you to go into. We've also got gas engineering. Gas and engineering is for like central heating, dealing with boilers, hot water systems. And then we've also got carpentry. So carpentry is fitting doors, easing, adjusting windows, putting in kitchen units, etc. So that's just a general overview of the area of what jobs that we've got available. As Alex touched on, it is about, you will be doing working with qualified people. So you will be doing a lot of on-site experience. So with the trades, what you'll be doing, you will be working with qualified operatives. So if you went into carpentry, you would be working alongside a qualified carpenter, and they would be showing you what jobs, how the jobs are done. And in the beginning, it's a lot of watching and observing, and as you're doing more, you'll get more involved, and you're getting more involved in the bigger task, and you'll do more of that work yourself. With all the trades, you'll be attending college. Most of the trades are 1 day a week. You'll be going to one of our training providers, but with multi-trade, it's a block release, so you'll be going to college in a 2-week block. And again, the experience that you're gaining from college, you'll be bringing that back into the workplace to assist you with developing your hand skills in order for you to get more involved in the work that's on site. The sort of stuff that we're looking for from an apprentice, we're looking for somebody who's definitely interested in the area that they choose. So you'll be working a lot, you'll be going out into people's homes. So it's important that you get on with people, that you've got a good attitude, you've got good communication skills. You've also you've looked into what you want to do, and have a good interest. We're looking for potential mainly. We're not necessarily looking for somebody who's got the experience, because we're not really expecting that. But it's about having that potential of being able to progress in the area. And at the end of your apprenticeship, you will, if you've passed your qualification with the experience that you'll be gaining throughout your qualification, you will have a career. You will be a qualified painter and decorator. You will be a qualified plumber by the end of your apprenticeship within the trade areas. And all the apprenticeships in the trade areas are for 3 years. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hand you over to Lorenzo White, who's going to tell you a little bit about what he does.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi, my name is Lorenzo White, as Jennifer said, that's my manager. Bit of feedback there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, okay, my name is Lorenzo White. I am a training officer and I help to guide the apprentices through their apprenticeship. I work with my colleague of mine by the name of Tracy Maddox. Sorry, there's a lot of feedback here, but I'll carry on anyway. I work with a lady by the name of Tracy Maddox, and we both organise and help the apprentices with various things. Now, when you join, you actually, obviously, you get a uniform, you get tools. We will sign you up to a college, as Jennifer also said not too long ago. You will be going on sometimes on a block basis, depending on what trade you're in. You will also go on also 1 day a week. Now, the college that we use, sometimes it's in College of North East London and the College of North West London and Choice Training in Dagenham. You'll also be going out with an operative in a van when we get through this COVID era, pandemic, I should say. So you'll be going out with them, going out to various properties throughout Hackney, and learning the trade as you go along. Yeah, in my job as well, I also meet with you on a monthly basis to kind of like, we have what I call a review, but the new word we use nowadays is check-ins. And we have an open door policy here. You're welcome to come and see myself, as I work with you every day anyway, Jennifer and Tracy. But our doors are always open for if you have any concerns of any sorts. Right? So I'm trying to think, I get a lot of feedback. Turn this down a bit. Apologies. I don't know if you're not hearing me clearly. Gosh. Anyway, moving on. Yes, moving on. So, and also the money is excellent from what I understand. So you get between 19 and 22,000 as an apprentice, which is very, very good. So, and you get, depending on where you get, like London waiting that's all included in that as well. The times that you start are at 8 o'clock till 4:15. As you're in construction, that is, yeah. And on Fridays they finish at 4 o'clock. We are looking for 5 apprentices at the moment, right? And the trade areas are carpentry, plumbing, multi-trade, and painting and decorating. I think that's 5, 4, sorry. 5, I should say, so I apologize, I'm a bit nervous, forgive me. All right, so that's what I'll just go over it again. It's painting and decorating, plumbing, multi-trade, domestic gas, and carpentry. Yeah, those are the 5 areas we're looking for. And it's obviously open for men and women. Yeah, okay. So, and the age is from 16 upwards. There's no age stop anymore. You're working in Hackney here in Hackney at Reading Lane, from where we're working now, which is behind the town hall. And as I said, you won't. And there's something I should cover as well. You don't necessarily have to have a driver's license when you start, but you are expected to have one by the time you come out of your apprenticeship. It's important that you have one at the end of your apprenticeship, because any successful apprentice will be given a van to drive, and obviously you'll be driving throughout Hackney, so you do the full driver's license. You can here, as I said, once you start, I think you will enjoy the what you're going to, what you're going to be learning. The people here are good. The operatives are great, and you can move on and progress in your career. Okay, so I'm going to kind of wind down now and say, well, I welcome you. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and all the best, and keep safe out there. Obviously, Alex, I'll put it back over to you.
Thanks, Lorenzo and Jennifer, and yeah, well done for persisting with some tech problems and trains. It's like I mentioned, first time we've done anything like this, so some inevitable gremlins in the system. I'm going to hand over to Paul now, who is from our building control team, and is going to talk about a surveying apprenticeship we have in building control.
Many thanks, Alex. I'll keep my video off because I've got bad bandwidth. So my name's Paul Stevens. I'm the manager of building control at Hackney Council. So we are looking for one apprentice. Not a lot of people have heard, understand what building control do. Normally we're hidden behind the planning department, but we are our own entity. You may have heard the Grenfell Tower inquiry, the Hackett review. So building control is going through a lot of changes at the moment. And there's a lot of emphasis on qualifications, where you will escalate to what buildings you can control and regulate, basically. So building control regulates the building regulations, the Building Act, London Building Act. We're not trade. A lot of people confuse us that we are trade or deal with buildings generally. It's basically when someone's building an extension, loft conversion, basement, new builds, new houses, new towers, hotels, schools. We start from basically the planning process. We get involved mainly with the fire regulations, and then we will, once we've reviewed the plans, we'll communicate and keep a good communication dialogue going with the architect and builder, sort out any contraventions, and then it will lead on to site inspections. And some of these sites could probably go on for a couple of years. So we do a lot of things as well as demolitions of buildings. And then we also do enforcement of unauthorised buildings, and some which we don't which we don't tell enough people about is we also do with dangerous structures. So that could be helping out the fire brigade, going in buildings for fire brigade, cars going on walls, and basically making sure that buildings are safe for the public. So we look for one apprentice, ideally ready to go to university. However, we will review an HNC and GMVQ level. Ideally, you need to be able to drive, and you'll be under my support. There'll be communication based at Hackney Service Centre. However, we're just finalising how our departments are adapting with coronavirus and how we will provide the support to the apprentice. But we're looking for somebody, not somebody who's an A-star student, somebody who can focus onto a profession and see it all the way through. However, what we will be looking for is that somebody be aiming for the RICS, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, as well as potentially any other disciplines such as Chartered Building Engineers or Institute of Fire Engineers. Always see the RICS as the elite, and that's what you need to be focusing on. And any degree program, you need to be accredited by them. However, the support you get will be supreme. We've got a good team behind us at Hackney. We have had apprentices in the past, and have gone on to do wonderful things. And if you don't want a future in building control later on, 5, 6, 10 years down the line, then building surveying, you can also go and specialise in other areas or in other disciplines externally, privately. So it's not just solely for building control. There is a number of similar departments like ourselves in other London boroughs, such as Arkin and Dagenham, Richmond, Kingston, all over London, who all have apprenticeships, and there is a support network going on as well to help support the new apprenticeships for building control. So you won't be alone, and there's a number way of studying as well. So a lot of focus is online studying. However, generally for building control, there'll be block placements either at university or at college. So we will support you for your day release and give you the background knowledge to help you do your degree.
Thank you very much, Paul, or P, as you're now known in YouTube land. And I should say, the surveying qualification you'll get is a really excellent qualification and the first step to a really, really good career in surveying. So I would encourage people, even if you're not sure what building control is, you weren't sure before, to have a look at that one. Next, we're going to hear about our management apprenticeships, which are level 5. In a minute, you're going to hear from Aaron, who's one of our management apprentices now. And first, I'm going to hand you over to Owen.
Thanks, Alex, and hi, everybody. Really excited to tell you about the Hackney Management Trainee Programme. It's the second year we've been running it, and we're looking for 2 management trainee apprentices to join our 2-year programme.
Oh, I think we've lost Owen for a second. Aaron, if you're there and you want to jump in, feel free to. Oh no, Owen's back. Hi, Owen. We lost you there for a minute.
Sorry, everybody. That's my connection. Yep. So the scheme is for 2 years, and we try to give you experience across the council. So it's made up of 4 6-month placements, where you get to work in a manager or shadowing a manager in different departments across the council. You'll also get a senior mentor and line management by myself or one of the other strategic business managers. What we're looking for is people who've got potential and interest to develop into management and leadership positions after the 2 years. And we've got a really good record of people being able to move into permanent employment at the end of the 2-year scheme. It's the qualification, as Alex mentioned, is a level 5 diploma in management, which is what you get at the end of the 2 years, which is a really good foundational management qualification. Yep. Last year on the programme, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his background and his experiences that he's gained with us.
Hi everyone. Don't know if you can see me. I hope you can. Yeah, so my name's Aaron. I'm one of the current management trainees. I'm in a cohort of 6 currently, which 2, as Owen mentioned, are apprentice, and the other 4 are doing an ILM course. So I've been there just over 7 months now, and in my time there, I've experienced so much. I've met a load of service heads. I've done a placement in the mayor's office. I'm currently working in the parks team, working on the 10 years park strategy. I'm working on the Shoreditch Park redevelopment, and I'm also working on the redevelopment of play areas within Hackney. The course is really good. There's so much support available. I came into this coming from a quite outreach background. I used to work for Hackney Hospital. The training provider Hawk is very good. They call you on a weekly basis to check up on you, make sure that you're okay, and you have meetings with them every 6 weeks. It's a 2-year course. I would strongly recommend it if you have any interest in becoming a manager in any form. It's really beneficial. The skills that I've picked up recently have been taking minutes. I've also been learning how to project plan. Recently, I've also undertaken a placement within the Borough Emergency Control Centre. This is due to obviously Corona. And you just get so much experience across the whole council. It's really beneficial in terms of networking. I've met people that I would have never dreamed of sitting across the meeting table of. And yeah, I really think that if you're interested in becoming a manager in any form, it's a really good step in achieving that.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Aaron. And yeah, I think we could see and hear you perfectly. Thank you. So next you're going to hear about digital apprenticeships. So we've got 21 digital apprenticeships this year, so by far the most of any area. And I'm going to hand over to Kate and Mal to talk to you about those.
Thanks, Alex. And thanks everyone for joining the call. So yes, Mal and I are going to talk to you about digital apprenticeships in Hackney's ICT team. As Alex said, we've got over 20 that we're advertising this summer. And it's a really important part of how we grow talent in our team. We've got a really diverse team of people who work in ICT. We're really conscious that ICT is often very male dominated, so we're on an active recruitment of more women. So if you're a woman thinking about a career in ICT, then this is the place for you. We were so impressed with the talent that we recruited last time that we actually recruited more people than we were supposed to, because the quality of the candidates was so good. So this is the second time that we're recruiting over 20 apprentices. We've got more apprentices this time in more teams across our directorate. Most of our apprenticeships are level 3 or level 4, but we also have a level 6 apprenticeship now as well, a degree level apprenticeship. Most of them last between 18 months to 2 years, with the degree level 1 being longer, because obviously it takes a longer time to get an undergraduate degree. I'll really quickly run through the areas, but I'm not going to go through all 21 apprenticeships because that would take ages, and we have an in-depth session planned for next week. We also have a Women in STEM session planned as well, so we have two further sessions online to talk about who we're recruiting and why we're recruiting. We've written them up here so that we can remember. So we've got apprenticeships in our infrastructure team, looking at the underlying networks and the way that all of our services join together. We have an apprenticeship in our data team, cybersecurity, that's a new one for us, really exciting, very important. We have 2 DevOps apprenticeships, that's a very new way of delivering ICT services, and we're going to be one of the first local authorities in the country to offer those apprenticeships. We have apprenticeships in our ICT support teams, that's working with users across the council, making sure that they can do their jobs every day. Apprenticeships in our development teams, that's people coding, building services, thinking about how we join all of our applications together. Delivery apprentices, so project management, thinking about how we work with services to make sure that we're building the right things at the right time. And we also have a product apprenticeship this time, which is thinking about what is the service that we're building and what does it need to do for the user. Because we've got over 20, we're also going to look at how we can move people around from in different teams during their apprenticeship this time, so that they get as much experience as possible across the whole of digital and technology. So it's a real opportunity to find out what you're interested in. And if you'd like to know more about us and our team, we blog extensively at blogs.hackney.gov.uk. So all of our work is online, everything that we do. The teams talk about their work every week, so you can get a really good sense of who we are and what we're doing. And now I'm going to hand you over to Mal, who's going to tell you more about his experience and what we're looking for.
Thank you, Kate. As Kate has mentioned, we are taking on quite a few apprentices this year, so I'm not going to bore you all by going through each and every one. As Kate said, I'm just going to give you an idea of what my experience has been like today and give you some tips, hopefully, on what we're looking for the next cohort. So what can I tell you about what I've been up to so far? I'm now managing 3 apprentices within the infrastructure team, one of whom is female, which is great. And my experience so far really has been nothing but positive. I mean, I was very nervous to start with because I'm quite a new manager and I haven't managed any apprentices before. But I have to say that I haven't regretted it at all. When we first got the guys, they were not very technical at all, to be honest, and I think they'd be happy to admit that. They started from scratch, so there was really a lot of work to do in the 18 months that we had them for, and a hell of a lot to learn. And in fact, that was a two-way street, because it certainly has been a two-way street for me, and I've learned a lot in this process too. So how do we get those apprentices from nothing to trained up to techies to our high standards? Well, we started with a buddy system, and we trained the apprentices up to all the tech that they needed to get started. And then after that, we gave them the fairly easier tasks and projects to work on. And as they progressed, things got a bit more technical and a bit more difficult. And they are now working as full engineers within my team. They are working on some new and interesting tech, including the DevOps stuff that Kate mentioned. They've all just had their contracts extended as well, so they're actually working with us as full-time employees at the moment. They're taking on their own projects, and at times they're even leading others within the team. So you can see they really are as much a part of our team as any other engineer within it. So I hear you say, well, that's all well and good now, but how do I know what you're looking for to get me in there? Well, obviously you could look at the job description, and that would be a good start. However, that's only going to tell you the tech stuff that we're looking for. And yeah, whilst that's desirable, it's certainly by no means all we're looking for. What we're looking for is some curiosity, an ability to learn, definitely an interest in tech, yes, a pleasant demeanour that could show you could work with others. More importantly, an ability to look at tech in a way from the user's perspective. We're doing things very differently within ICT at Hackney. We started looking at tech from who uses it, not what we can do with it, okay? So as Alex mentioned earlier, you also require some self-discipline and determination to get through, but we're certainly not looking for someone who's got tech skills already, because if you had that, why would you be on this apprentice? So I'm very impressed with the way that we're looking at ICT now. As I mentioned, we work from a very different view, and we look at the people who actually use the tech. So you can see how some of those softer skills might actually stand you in very good stead if indeed you do intend to apply. So please come along, apply.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Mal and Kate. That's excellent. And yes, please do think about digital, even if it's an area that you maybe didn't consider before. As Mal said, we're not looking for technical skills. And a lot of if you look in detail at the job descriptions and take the time to do that, you'll see that a lot of the apprenticeships, you're not actually even studying a technical qualification. You're studying something like project management or management consulting or data analysis. So there are some technical roles. There's also some less technical roles, but it's a great opportunity to get into a whole different range of roles. And to give you a bit of insider information, well, that's not that insider if I'm saying it on YouTube, but we usually get far fewer applications in digital, and we have so many apprenticeships. So if you apply in that area, I think it's fair to say your chances will be better than if you apply in other areas. Next, we are going, the other manager's probably going to be annoyed with me now, but we're now going to hand over to Hayley and Pete, who are going to talk about youth work and play work apprenticeships.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm going to talk briefly about the youth work apprenticeships, which you'll be studying a diploma in youth work practice for a year, so it's a 12-month apprenticeship. What we're looking for would be the kind of person that we're looking for. I'll go through some of the skills that and qualities that we're looking for, which is really important when you're applying for this role, because a lot of it is down to you and your personality. So we're looking for outgoing people, people who like meeting people, people who like caring for others, have an interest in young people's issues, like to get involved, like to participate. Obviously, we want you to be friendly and approachable. Use your creative skills in a lot of the work we're doing, especially at the moment. We're having to be super creative in thinking of how we do online work with young people. So if you've got any really interesting creative skills that you'd like to apply, that would be really something that we would welcome. Also, an understanding of some of the issues that affect young people in Hackney would be useful. There's lots of teamwork. Everything we do is in a team. We're always working together to work with young people. So you have to be able to work with a whole range and a diverse team of all ages and all abilities. And that applies to the young people that we're working with as well. We work with a wide range of young people with all different types of abilities. Most of our work is delivered in group work. The downside of working in it is we do work late. There's lots of late evenings because obviously we want to meet young people when they're not at school. Outside of school, we also do trips. We also go on residential weekends, and we have sessions that are split into juniors and seniors. Most of the youth work would start in the juniors, so you'll be working with young people from 6 to 12, and you'll be working in our hubs, you'll be working in schools, you'll be working in community settings. So you need to be able to be really flexible and adaptable to the situations that you're working in. Hayley's going to talk more about the play work apprenticeships, but in play work you're also expected to work outdoors because it's in an adventure playground. and that's in all weathers, whether it's raining or snowing, you'll still be outside. So obviously you have to be, pretty resilient to those sort of conditions and be happy to be working and be happy to be positive and bring a positive attitude to that. I'll pass you on to Hayley, who can talk you more about the Play Work Apprenticeship, and then you can listen to Jessica, who completed an apprenticeship with us a while ago and is now working in the sports unit.
Thanks, Peter. So I'm Hayley. So the Play Work Apprenticeship will be based at Shoreditch Adventure Playground, which is located in Shoreditch Park. The children range from 6 to 15 years old. Predominantly, we tend to get a lot of juniors, but we do get seniors also attending the playgrounds. We also accept young people up to the age of 25 if they've got kind of an additional need as well. So part of the Play Work Apprenticeship is learning about the principles that underpin play and play theory and the different types of play, and then applying that theory and principles to your own practice. You'll be expected to deliver all aspects of play, and that could be messy play, it could be hide and seek type plays, running type games in play, it could be creative play, it could be dressing up play, imaginary play. It's all led by the children. So we kind of plan activities, but we're guided about the children and kind of what activities they would like to do at the playground. Most of the play will be based outside, like Peter said, so you need to be quite open to working in all weather conditions, whether it's cold, whether it's sunny, whether it's rainy, whether it's snowy. The times for the sessions change as well. So during school holidays, the play provision is from Monday to Friday from 10 till 5 o'clock. But during term time, it's from a Tuesday to a Saturday. So Tuesday to Friday from 3:30 to 7 o'clock is the delivery time, and then Saturdays it will be from about 11 o'clock till 4 o'clock. So you need to take that into mind that from term time to school holidays, your working hours might change. You will also be involved, as well as planning and delivering the play activities. We have play structures on site, so zip lines, swings, an American swing, dens. So you'll be involved in the maintenance and repairs of some of those play structures, as well as play structure building. So we encourage the children to make dens, and you will help the children make dens, learn some bushcraft skills, make fire, prepare food with the children. We take the children off site on trips such as kayaking, away in a residential, so you'll be expected to get involved in that. So the key things, like Peter says, we're looking for someone who really enjoys working with children, who's empathetic and caring, got an interest in the issues, is fun, outgoing, energetic. You will need a lot of energy on the playgrounds because the children don't stop, they're on the go all the time. But if I hand you over to Jess, she'll be able to give you a bit more of an insight what it's like actually to be an apprentice. So over to you, Jess.
Hello, yeah. So I'm Jess. I was a youth work apprentice last year, and then I carried on as an assistant youth worker. And I think that's one thing that you do notice while doing the apprenticeship, within your own Hackney anyway, is that the team are really supportive, like, of you staying within the team or giving you any sort of progression or training that you need, even if you don't stay within the team, to kind of continue your career in any aspect that you want. Like, there's so much on the job training, obviously, as well as doing the qualification, which they always provide extra support if we need extra support doing the qualification rather than the practical work. But also the practical work is so helpful for the qualification. Like, you can literally see in the units you're learning, it's really reflected in the work that you actually do. And also, it's so much fun. You literally just play with young people, play with kids, and there's so much opportunities that you can get, like residentials, and like you're treated just as like everyone else. Like, it's not like, oh, here's the apprentice, let's just give them all the boring work. Like, you literally just get like all the opportunities that everyone else would get. So yeah, it's really good, and the team's really good, and we're all loads of fun. So yeah, it's good.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Jessica, and Pete and Hayley as well. Messy play sounds fascinating. The next area we're going to talk about is business services. We have 5 apprenticeships, so I'm going to ask managers, I'm sorry, to be really quick, to try and squeeze everyone in. So we're going to start by hearing about customer services. So I'm going to hand over to Barnes, and then you'll hear from Cleo, who was a customer service apprentice.
Apologies, folks. Slight technical hitch there. With you now. Yeah, so afternoon all. I suppose everyone's covered quite a lot already. So in terms of customer services, I am a manager in sort of two areas of customer services, and then which are related to housing. So that is related to either repairs or housing issues that are related to anything that aren't repairs, so things to do with rent, leasehold, queries, ASB, general first point of contact queries, those sort of things. We also have our corporate customer service team who will be speaking shortly after me, and we are all together in one customer service team that literally in the process of restructuring as we speak. So anyone coming on board into our service area will be entering a really exciting time for Hackney's customer service offering. We're offering 14-month placements. For the most part, those will fall within normal service hours, which would be 9 to 5. There might be an hour. There might be an option to start at 8 and finish at 4. But we're really looking for individuals who are resilient, interested in problem solving, and obviously great communication skills. Hackney is one of the most diverse boroughs in the country. As a result, you will interact either face to face or over the phone with anyone and everyone from our planet, really, and that will be different levels of English, various different cultures, religions, every kith and kin you can possibly imagine is here, and we provide an excellent service to them, but are constantly looking to improve. I'm sorry, I'm racing through this a little bit. Keen not to hog it all for everyone. I will be on online afterwards for the question session, so if you have any questions, but I shall hand back to Alex now, and hopefully I haven't taken up too much time.
Thanks, Barnes. No, well done. You did well to get through all that. And like I said, we will be doing in-depth sessions on each area, so I'll give you more information at the end about those. I'm going to invite Cleo, who is one of our customer service apprentices, to say a few words now.
Hi, my name is Cleo. I did the contact centre apprenticeship with Marge being my manager. We only started the contact centre apprenticeships last year, myself being one of the first ones to go through, and there's a current one. Contact centre, we deal with rent queries, we deal with when you make the first call in the contact centre, we're the ones who pick up. As an apprentice, I don't go to college. The contact centre, we don't have a college. Our assessor comes to us. 1 day a week, we spend time off the phones. This allows us time to do coursework, because as you can imagine, trying to take calls and doing coursework isn't manageable. So we get 1 day a week, which we can focus our 20% time on to do our coursework. Hawk Training, which is the provider for this apprenticeship, is really supportive. Just goes to show how when you work hard, you have your curiosity, ambition, and you want to do well in customer service. Even though I've finished my apprenticeship and I've now been employed full time. So part of that statistics of how many apprentices do get taken on, it does happen. And like Barnes said, if you can also, we'll be taking questions at the end. Also advise looking at the blog on our website. We have apprentices like myself. My journey is on the website. If you have a look and you want to see actually a day in the life as an apprentice, if you look on our Hackney website, there will be the blogs there showing our journeys, where we was, what we did to get to where we are and where we are now. It's a really good journey for even just to have a look at.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Cleo. And yes, definitely do look at the blog. I will send a link to that at the end as well. Next up, we've got Lucy, who's going to talk about a business administration apprenticeship we have in executive support.
Great, thank you, Alex. So I'm Lucy, I'm the Executive Support Manager for the Council. So my team provides administrative support to the Council's senior leadership. So that's anything from the Chief Executive to any one of the directors, whether that's in public realm, children's services or communications and events. So incredibly varied opportunities there. So as an apprentice in the executive support team, an apprentice would begin working at the heart of the council in the Chief Exec's Directorate, learning the ropes from an experienced executive support officer. Key tasks like diary management, inbox management, as well as we're learning about the whole organisation, so everything that the council does, and building up skills such as finance skills, handling freedom of information requests, minute taking, and all those key administrative tasks. So we're looking for someone who's willing to get stuck in, really, someone who's a real team player. As I said, the team supports all the council senior leadership. So we're dotted across the council, and it requires us all to be work really closely together and have good communications between the team. And someone who's willing to get stuck in and help out, lend a hand. Because as we support the senior leadership, they often turn to us to resolve issues, anything from IT issues to answering the phone to residents. So it's quite keen that we have people who are comfortable talking to other people, being able to answer the phone and speak to anyone at various levels. So whether that's other council officers, whether that's directors in the council or residents or people from the business community, we never quite know who's going to pick up and ask a question. So someone who likes speaking to people is key. In terms of career paths from being an apprentice in the exec support team, I'm really pleased that we've had lots of successes with our apprentices in my team. 2 apprentices have gone on to secure permanent roles in the team and are very successful and well regarded and looking on for their next career opportunities. And we've had people from the team who move on to policy roles, to project management career paths, to business support officers, to people who are working in political environments as well. So there's quite a wide range of roles that people hop onto from working in exec support. The apprentices that we've had in the team have worked really well, and we've been really proud of the stuff that they're doing. And one of our apprentices now is working supporting the council's emergency response to COVID. So we'd really like to see another successful apprentice join our team. I hope that covers everything for you, Alex.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you so much, Lucy. Next we have Jacqueline, who's going to talk about our payroll administration apprenticeship.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacqueline King and I'm Head of HR Systems and Payroll here at London Borough of Hackney. So I'm really excited that Hackney is offering a payroll apprenticeship for the first time, and I'm really hoping the role will be of interest to you. The apprenticeship will give you the opportunity to learn or enhance skills such as time management, customer service, teamwork and working relationships. You'll be working on our HR payroll software, iTrent, and learning the basics of payroll processing and how to calculate tax, national insurance and other deductions. You will also learn how to answer and field payroll queries from a wide variety of sources, including employees, other internal stakeholders and external stakeholders as well. We're a very large and busy department and we pay over 7,000 employees a month. So you can imagine we are very busy a lot of the time, and there's not a huge amount of downtime for us. but joining us will give you a good grounding in all things payroll. So I think to succeed, you will need to be committed to learning, passionate about providing excellent customer service, and have a keen interest in payroll and good administration and organisational skills. So I've worked in payroll my whole career, and I can honestly say I've always been excited and never bored by the career I chose. And I've worked in payroll for 34 years, so that, I guess that says something. There's always something new to learn, with changes to legislation and software changes happening on a regular basis, which are only two of the ever-moving things to contend with for a payroll professional. So I do hope I've given you a little bit of a flavour of the payroll apprentice role, and I'm really looking forward to meeting those of you who are going to be interested in it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Jacqueline. And finally, in this section, we've got Neil, who's going to talk about our corporate payments apprenticeship.
Okay, thanks, Alex. As I said, my name's Neil and I work in the central payments team. I'm a payments supervisor. We're a small team of around 10 people. The main role of the payments team is to pay a majority of supplier invoices for the council. The role of the apprentice will be as a payments officer, and this role will include payment of supplier invoices for the council's financial systems called CEDA, reconciling of supplier statements, and dealing with supplier queries. The apprentice will learn how to use the council's financial systems and how to process payments in line with council's financial regulations. And the successful applicant will be working towards a level 2 in finance and accounts. The apprentice will also need to have a good eye for detail and be able to use different ICT systems with a good understanding of maths and good communication skills. Thanks. That's it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. So, final area we're going to talk about is regulatory compliance. You might not know what that means, but hopefully you will in the next 5 minutes. So we have apprenticeships in parking, and we have apprenticeships, sorry, we have one, that's completely wrong. We have 2 apprenticeships in enforcement, and we have 1 apprenticeship in markets. I'm just looking to see who we've got on the call. Dan is not here. No, we don't have anyone from those areas, so I will tell you a little bit about those apprenticeships. So our market service, you probably know that there are a lot of different markets in Hackney. We've got Broadway Market, we've got Ridley Road. You'd be working in the team that manages those markets. That might involve doing some social media. It might involve working with the traders. It might involve helping to kind of enforce the rules that we have around markets. The enforcement apprenticeship, so you might have seen some of our enforcement officers out and about around the borough in their uniform. They are there to make sure that the public and the businesses are safe and are complying with rules around things like antisocial behaviour or noise or environmental services. I won't go into loads of detail, partly because I don't know it, but also because we're a bit short of time. But again, we will be having a more in-depth session. But I would say have a look at the regulatory compliance ones, even if you're not sure totally what that's about, like me, because you'll be getting a really good level 4 qualification. You'll be working with the public. I know the people we've had doing those apprenticeships before have really loved them. So have a look at those. So that is the end in terms of hearing about all of our different apprenticeships. So I realise that's a lot to take in. What we're going to do for the last sort of 20 minutes-ish is try to cover as many of your Slido questions as possible. So not just the ones that we received before, but the ones that have come in while we've been doing the session. So I did have a few points that I wanted to pick up from. Sorry, before I do that, I realise I've very stupidly completely left someone out, and I'm going to invite Richard, who's from our Hackney Works team, to talk to you a bit about the support that they can provide to you if you're a Hackney resident around applying for jobs and apprenticeships. Apologies for that, Richard. Support that they can provide to you if you're a Hackney resident around applying for jobs and apprenticeships. Apologies for that, Richard.
Afternoon, everyone. So, not on yet. Not on yet.
You are on, Richard. We can hear you.
There you go. Afternoon, everyone. So, my name's Richard. I work with Hackney Works. We're part of the employment and skills team. Our role is to support people who are trying to get into work. So, if you would like some support with applying for any of these apprenticeships, you can register with us on our service. I'm back again. So you can register with our service on the Hackney Works website. I can just quickly show you that now. That will be here. So if you register on the service, you can have a look at our jobs, apprenticeships, but my training in the main will be in events and also in training. My screen is not sharing. So what you'd look for is the Hackney Works website. You can register for that and we can support you with your applications. We can give you some support for your interviews. If you need some confidence building or there's other things that you'd like some support with, then we can give you help with that as well. So you'll just need to have a look on the Hackney Works training page or events page. We have lots of different things on there that can support you, whether that be one-to-one support or whether you just want some links with information, then that's all there for you. If you speak to your Hackney Works advisors, they can book you on this. If you're not already registered with us, then you can register here on the Hackney Works site. That's about it, really. Have a good day.
Brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Thank you very much. So, Richard, if you just want to click stop presenting so we don't have your screen on there. Thank you. So, as I said, we're just going to try and cover now some of the questions that have come in on Slido. A couple of the points that people have asked that we didn't get to at the beginning. People had asked about disability and the support that is available. So we do have a supported employment team at the council which can help you with your application. Again, I will send a link to register with that service if you haven't already. I want to talk a little bit about the qualifications that you need to complete your apprenticeship. So for level 2 and 3, you don't need prior qualifications to apply for the apprenticeship, but we may do an English and maths assessment with you. That's because in order to complete and pass your apprenticeship, your English and maths will need to be at a level where you're going to be able to complete level 2 by the end of your apprenticeship. Level 2 is equivalent to GCSE C, A to C, or 4 to 9 with the new system. So if we're asking you to complete an English and maths assessment as part of the apprenticeship, it's to check that you are at a level where over the course of the apprenticeship, over the course of the year or 18 months, or however long it is, that you are going to be able to actually achieve the qualification. But for level 2s and 3s, I think with one exception, you don't need prior qualifications to apply. If you have special educational needs, if you have an education, health or care plan, or a learning disability assessment, or a statement, then that requirement doesn't apply to you. We also will try as far as we can to put reasonable adjustments in place for the assessment stage, for the interview stage, and also in the apprenticeship itself. We will do our best to try and provide reasonable adjustments. The application form gives you a chance to tell us about any particular needs that you have, any adjustments. So do take that chance to tell us about those. I didn't talk at the start about the impact of COVID, I touched on it in that we're going to be doing our recruitment more online than we have in the past. The other impact that you might be thinking about is, well, will I actually be able to start an apprenticeship in September? I mean, obviously, it's a really difficult situation because the guidance changes regularly. We don't know where we'll be in September. I think it's fair to say we want to get as far through the recruitment process as possible, doing that online. But we also would ideally not want people to be starting their apprenticeships before they can do that in the office. Obviously, a lot of us are working from home now. We think it's really important with an apprenticeship that you are there in person, certainly at the start, particularly if it's your first job. It's going to make everything a lot easier. So it may be, it's hard to say, but it may be that we end up delaying some of the starts. So we may offer you an apprenticeship, say in July, August, when we complete the recruitment process, but say, given the guidance as it is now, we're going to ask you to start, say, in October or November rather than September as we'd initially planned. But we'll obviously keep an eye on that and try to keep everyone updated. Someone had asked about, do I need to have lived in the UK for 3 years? Unfortunately, yes. Again, not a Hackney rule, it's a government rule that you need to be a UK citizen or a citizen of an EEA country. If you're not sure what that is, Google it, capital E, capital E, capital A. And you also need to have lived in either the UK or an EEA country for the last 3 years. So at the point you start your apprenticeship, otherwise you are not eligible. So I'm going to try and answer now some of the other questions that have come through. So if you just bear with me, let's have a look here. So let's see. So will you be sending the slides after the session? Can we apply for a part-time apprenticeship? So we don't have slides as such, but we'll certainly be sending a link to watch the recorded presentation. Part-time, so this year we don't have any part-time apprenticeships, but I would say that we try and be flexible with that. So if you did have, say it was childcare responsibilities or a disability or any other reason why you might not be able to work full-time, we will do our best to try and accommodate that, working with the hiring manager to see if there is some way that the apprenticeship can be offered flexibly. And if we were to do that, it would mean the apprenticeship would last longer. So if you were doing 3 days a week and it was a 2-year apprenticeship, it would probably last more like 3 years or 4 years rather than 2. Another question, can you choose, this is a question for Owen, if you are still there. I'm not sure he is, but oh, he is, sorry, yeah. It's a question specifically about the management apprenticeship. Can you choose what 4 areas in the council you work in during the level 5 management apprenticeship?
No, you do get an element of choice. So the first 6 months will be primarily in the corporate centre in the town hall, and trying to give you that strategic overview of the council. And then after that, you'll get a choice of frontline placements, we call them, so placements where you're predominantly working with residents, and then you will get a free choice of placements in other areas. And the only condition to that might be that if there's like big priorities for the council, like at the moment with COVID, it may be that you're directed to work on those on behalf of the council. But what I can promise is you get a large amount of choice in terms of what placements you do, but it will be partly directed as well. Hope that's helpful. That's
great, thank you very much. Okay, just going through to see other ones we have. Do I have to wait for my GCSE results before I can apply? That's a very good question. It depends on which apprenticeship it is, I would say. So one thing is that you will have to have turned 16 by the 1st of September this year. And then whether you need GCSE results or not, it depends on the apprenticeship. So if it's a level 2 or 3 apprenticeship, I think except executive support, then no, you don't need any prior qualifications. But as I say, we will possibly ask you to do an English and maths assessment to see the level that your literacy and numeracy is at. But you don't need prior qualifications. At level 4 and higher, you will need some sort of prior qualifications. It's different for different apprenticeships, so I would say check the job description and see what we're asking for with those. Another question here. I left my country as an asylum seeker and I was unable to bring my certificates from school, college and university. Is it a problem that I don't have them? That's a really good question, and it does come up, not just for people who've been educated in other countries. Not necessarily. I think, again, I would say at level 2 or 3, we're not necessarily looking at what qualifications you've done before. We're looking at what is your current level of English and maths. So not based on a certificate you've got, but based on an assessment that we might give you. So no, I wouldn't worry about that, but that is a slightly complicated one. So you might want to email us apprenticeships@hackney.gov.uk, and the email address is in the YouTube as well. And we can have a look at, depending on the apprenticeship you're interested in, we can have a look at that one specifically. I'm just going through to see if we have some more. Bear with me. There's one here that has said how many hours work is an apprenticeship. I mean, it's in general a full-time job, so it's usually, that means 35 or 37 hours a week. It's often 9 to 5, but not always. So off the top of my head, the youth work apprenticeship and the apprenticeships and the play work apprenticeship are irregular hours. Pete or Hayley, jump in if I'm wrong on that. So that might involve some evenings and some weekends.
Yeah, it does involve a lot of evenings and occasional weekends. But you're still doing a full-time contract, so you're on 35 hours a week. It would just be spread over, sort of different hours during that week.
Great, thanks, Pete. Enforcement, I know, and I think markets also involve some evening and weekend hours. I would just, I guess, make that point again, that an apprenticeship is a job, and it is generally a full-time job. Not always, like I say, we'll try and be flexible if you want part-time, but most of the time it is. And I guess if I think about where apprenticeships have gone wrong most often in the past, not just at Hackney, but I think in general, is where people have maybe gone into it with a different expectation that because it's a training role, the expectations or the hours are lower. Now they are in a way. We're not expecting you to come in and be fully polished and to have all the skills you need. That's what we want to give you, but we are expecting you to be reliable, to turn up on time. And I think sometimes people have struggled with that transition, maybe from being in education to working full-time. We'll give you all the support in the world, but you do need to have that basic desire and willingness to show that commitment, to be reliable, to have good attendance. So I would say, one of the things you might be thinking about if you're leaving school at the moment, and like I say, we'd have no upper age limit, so we're not just thinking about school leavers, but one of the things you might be thinking about is, do I want to go to uni or do I want to do an apprenticeship? I can't give you the answer to that, but I think one of the things to consider is that although we try and have a social element with our apprenticeships, it is not the same as uni. You're not going to be waking up at lunchtime. You're probably not going to be going out drinking every night. And if you are, you're probably not going to last very long in the apprenticeship. So it's not like uni in that respect. It can be quite hard, but at the same time, you're getting qualified in some cases to the same level as you would with a degree, and you're getting paid to do that rather than accruing debt. And I would say that I've certainly found in the last few years that a lot of people are coming out of uni with degrees and struggling to find good jobs because it is really tough out there, and it's probably only going to get tougher. So like I say, I would never tell someone not to go to uni and to do an apprenticeship, but I think these are things worth bearing in mind. Does the career you want to do require you to have a degree? That's an important thing to research as well. I am going to wrap up in a sec. How many payroll admin apprenticeships do you have? It's just the one at the moment, but executive support is also administration. That's also an administration apprenticeship. I get very nervous when it comes to interviews. What can I do to help me prepare? I would suggest Googling Hackney Works and registering for that service. That's what Richard was talking about. They will give you that sort of support and advice and help you prepare for interviews. And that's a free service for all Hackney residents. I think I'm going to stop there unless any managers want to jump in with any questions. Kate from IT has rightly pointed out that IT do have a part-time apprentice at the moment. We also have part-time apprentices in parking, in project management. These ones this year have been advertised as full-time, but like I say, we'll try and be flexible if people are looking for part-time and that works for the managers. So I've also been asked to remind you that you can join the Youth and Playwork special session on the 8th of June, and that applies to all of the in-depth sessions that we're going to be running. So what I'm going to do, everyone who signed up via Eventbrite, I'm going to email you details of how you can join those in-depth sessions. I'm going to send you all of the questions that were asked on Slido with answers. I might be creating loads of work for myself here. I'm going to send you information about our supported employment service for people with disabilities and special educational needs, and our Hackney Work service. I am going to send you our apprenticeships email link if you have particular questions that we haven't been able to answer today or through the in-depth sessions. And that just leaves me to say thank you very much to everyone who's taken part, to the managers, the apprentices, and also to all of you for joining. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for being part of our first ever online session, and good luck with your applications. I really hope it goes well, and take care. Bye bye everyone.